Today I want to show you a unique soup that combines two very unique greens. One of them is sorrel and the other is ramps. So I've known about sorrel since I was a kid because sorrel is actually very popular in Hungarian cooking. In Hungarian, sorrel is called sóska. In the States, it's really hard to get, but my mom grew her own in the garden. And she would take the sorrel and turn it into a dip to eat with roast meats or even potatoes, or sometimes with boiled meat. Sorrel is unique because it's like a salad green, but it's really, really sour. So the way that Hungarians cook with it is they add sugar to it, and it kind of has this unusual sweet and sour flavor, but it's really tempting to eat. So even though sorrel is really sour, once you combine it with other ingredients like ramps or shallots or onions, you can really tame the sourness. So I want to show you how I make my Sorrel-Ramp soup today. And it's going to start with sauteing actually some shallots, because here in Hungary, they don't harvest the ramps with the onion attached. They just cut the tops off. So let me actually show you. So this is sorrel. They have this sawtooth shape. And then you have ramps, which almost look like they could be a tulip leaf or the leaf of a lily of the valley. But in the States, the ramps come with the bulbs attached. Here in Europe, they don't harvest them that way just for ecological reasons. So let's get started on this recipe, Sorrel-Ramp soup. Okay, so I have a pot over medium heat, and in the meantime, I'm going to cut up this shallot, which is the substitute for the ramp onions that I'm missing. And you don't have to be perfect with the shallot because it's all going to get pureed. Okay. And I'm going to add some oil. And I'm going to add a pinch of salt just to help break down the shallots. Okay, and meanwhile I'm going to prep the sorrel leaves. I've already washed these, but I want to remove the stems. The best is just to rip them all off. So the shallots are nice and caramelized, and I'm going to start adding the sorrel in little bunches and letting it wilt. As you can see, the sorrel kind of becomes this muddy brown as it cooks. It's really unlike any other green. And now for the ramps, I'm just going to cut them in half and add them as well. Maybe do a little more. So I first discovered ramps in New York City. When I would go to work, I would always pass through the Union Square Green Market. And there, at the height of spring, they would sell ramps, which are also called ramsums, or in Hungarian they're called medvehagyma, which means bear onions. So when I first saw ramps, I was really curious what to do with them. So I tried all kinds of different methods. I sauteed them, I grilled them, I added them to omelets, and honestly, I loved them every single which way. But then I thought, well, could I create this sorrel soup without adding sugar to it? well, how about adding ramps because it has this nice sweetness? Okay, I won't lie, I do add a touch of sugar in the end just to even out the flavors, but the point is you don't have to add like handfuls of sugar to tame the tartness of sorrel. So as you can see, it's wilted and it has two different colors because the ramps kind of keep their greenness and the sorrel goes brown. But now I'm going to add my 4 cups of chicken stock, and this is homemade chicken stock. It's a little chunky because it's out of the fridge. And I'm going to increase the heat to bring it up to a boil and then reduce it to a simmer. And I'm also going to add this potato just to add a little bit of richness to thicken the liquid. It's just a small Yukon Gold potato. I'm going to cut it into little dice. Okay, so now it's reached a boil and I've reduced it to simmer until basically when the potatoes are done, the rest is pretty much done as well. And in the meantime, I have this little pan preheating and I'm going to add a little oil. And I have some cubed rye bread that I'm going to add, and these are going to be our croutons. I love croutons with this type of soup. Here in Budapest, there's a restaurant that has sorrel soup in the springtime, and I really love going there. They serve it with croutons, and that's actually where I got the idea to do this crouton topping. It just makes it all the better, especially with a cream soup, to have a crunchy crouton that then absorbs the soup. Okay, so the soup has cooked down a little bit and the potatoes have gotten soft, so I am ready to start pureeing this. And the croutons are also done, so I'm going to put this aside. I'm going to turn off the heat. I'm going to move this over here closer to the outlet. I hope I don't get covered in green, but at least I blend in. Ooh. Looks pretty good. Okay, I'm going to add some cream. So about like a cup. Let's see how that works. Now this is where I'm going to give it a little bit of a taste so I can see if I should add salt, pepper, or even sugar. It's actually not bad. It's tart, but I will add some sugar, but first I'm going to add salt. Okay, so a nice big pinch of salt. I'm going to add some freshly ground pepper. And I'm going to add just a tiny bit of sugar. See how that does to balance it out. And just one more little taste. Okay, I like that. I'm going to plate it in this shallow bowl. And a little drizzle of olive oil for the top. We can also drizzle some cream. And our croutons. Here is the finished dish. So this is one of those soups that I call an appetite whetter because it's a little bit sour and it's perfect for whetting your appetite before a dinner to come. So let me dive in. Okay, with a crouton. I love the sweet and sour flavor. And the ramps and the shallot adds this little oniony hint. It rounds out the sorrel flavor so it's not so aggressive. That final tablespoon of sugar really helped round it out. But sorrel is just so sour, it needs a little helping hand. But this is why I love using onions, because it really helps add a natural sweetness to it. But I think the idea with a sorrel soup is to really, like I said, have an appetite whetter. It primes you for what's to come. After this, you can have an amazing meal, maybe like a roast meat with potatoes, and then have a really nice dessert. I think it's a great way to start any dinner, especially in the springtime when sorrel and ramps are in season. So I hope you try it. Let me know what you think in the comments, and please like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.